Hello, this is a kind of advance announcement for the second meeting of the Shoddy Court Literary and Mutual Improvement Society, where our focus will be on poetry produced by miners and their families in the long 19th century. Kirsty and myself have selected 4 poems each. I've picked 4 from the 1840s, all produced during a very important industrial dispute in the Durham coalfields. And those deal with a variety of topics, but I'm particularly interested in the role of the miner's family, the role of the miner's wife, the depiction of conditions underground, and the way in which the miners make their appeal to the larger community. So those are the things I would ask you to look out for when you're reading the poems that I've selected. And now I'm going to hand you over to Kirsty, who's going to tell you about the 4 poems she's chosen.
Thanks, Mike. So I picked a poem by Davy Wingate. He's a fairly well-known collier poet because he ended up being reviewed by Margaret Oliphant in Blackwood's Edinburgh magazine, a leading periodical, and his poems were published by Blackwood. So he was fairly well known, and he actually got himself out of the mines through his literary career. And I also selected a poem by Arthur Wilson, who published as Dalry in the local press. Like Wingate, started work in the mines as a child, but he later emigrated. And while continuing to be a miner in Australia, he also became a very well-known Labour MP and senior member of the Australian Parliament. And I selected these 2 Wilson and Wingate poems because I'm really interested by their relationship to 2 other very famous poems, Thomas Hood's Song of the Shirt and Robert Burns's To a Mouse. So don't forget to look those up too. And then I picked 2 songs that fit quite well with Mike's poems by Sarah Moore. Not that much is known about Moore outside her political career in the 20th century. She was a very well-known Labour councillor and extremely active in the miners' strike of 1926, which is really the end of the period we're looking at. Census records suggest Moore was married to a bricklayer, but that her father and all her brothers were coal miners, and she herself may have been a dressmaker. And we don't know if she ever published these verses. They only exist in a typescript by a family member, so I'm particularly excited to show them to you. And they're much less literary, but I'm interested in what all these poets and Mike's songs are saying about the experience of working beneath ground and the way they do or don't relate to political ideals. And 2 of my writers, Wilson and Moore, were actually heavily involved in Labour politics in one form or another, and what they're trying to get their audience to think about the life of a collier. So really enjoyed our first discussion. Excited to see old and new faces again at our next meeting, 12th of May, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. We hope to see you there.